Lower Manhattan, New York City, September 11, 2001. This tragic event marked the declaration of a global war on terror led by the United States government and its allies. The world changed after 9/11.
September the 11th, for me, was a wake-up call.
Since then, governments across the world have introduced anti-terror laws which have compromised our essential liberties. Here in the UK, these laws are increasingly being used to discipline those who are outspoken about the government's behaviour. The Western invasions of Afghanistan and Iraq have claimed hundreds of thousands of lives. The British government lied to the public about the threat posed from Saddam Hussein.
There is a threat from Saddam Hussein, and the weapons of mass destruction that he has acquired is not in doubt at all.
No weapons of mass destruction were ever found in Iraq.
Well, one only has to refer to the Downing Street memo, in which Richard Dearlove told Tony Blair that the United States had committed to a policy of regime change based upon the existence of weapons of mass destruction, that this was a very thin case that couldn't be sustained with any facts, and yet, because regime change was decided upon, the intelligence would be fixed to the policy.
Former servicemen and women have testified that the methods used in these wars have been illegal and inhumane.
Naked prisoners on dog leads, covered in shit, made to eat shit, terrorised by dogs.
And Blair's got the cheek to say that he's got God on his side as well. That's what really annoys me.
God?
You could basically kill anybody you wanted. I mean, it was that easy. You didn't even have to get off and dig a hole or anything like that. All you had to do was have something there for a picture. You were driving down the road, 3 in the morning, there's a guy on the side of the road, shoot him, throw a shovel off. There you go.
The white phosphorus will disperse in a cloud. And when it makes contact with skin, then it's absolutely irreversible damage, burning flesh to the bone. It doesn't necessarily burn clothes, but it will burn the skin underneath clothes.
Far from enjoying peaceful and democratic regimes, the people of Afghanistan and Iraq are now living in violent and unstable societies. British companies have made profits in excess of 1.1 billion from the Iraq War. Oil and gas deals signed in Afghanistan and Iraq have benefited Western corporations, not the people of the Middle East. Several memos now in the public domain confirm that the British Prime Minister and the American President agreed to invade Iraq regardless of what the UN Security Council decided. According to a leaked official memo, Bush and Blair discussed flying U-2 spy planes disguised in UN colours over Iraq to provoke Saddam Hussein into retaliation. This is just more evidence of the smoke and mirror tactics adopted by the Western power elite. For a number of years now, it has been readily accepted that the official story of 9/11 does not stand up to independent scrutiny. In the 5 years since, irrefutable evidence has emerged indicating that 9/11 was an inside job.
We started running. Floor by floor, it started popping out.
It was like, it was if they had detonated. They were planned to take down a building. Boom, 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 boom.
Politicians, scientists, journalists, academics, researchers, even Hollywood actors have gone public. Thousands of 9/11 activists around the world have been spreading the facts. Yet the mass media still barely covers this mounting body of evidence and ignores the views of millions in the US and tens of millions across the world. In the year 2000, a document entitled Rebuilding America's Defenses was published by a private right-wing US think tank known as the Project for the New American Century, or the neocons. In it, they laid out their plans for Middle East domination in order to maintain control of the world's energy resources. They noted that a cataclysmic and catalyzing event, like the attack on Pearl Harbor during World War II, would help mobilize American opinion behind their war agenda. 9/11 was that event. As a result, the majority of British politicians supported the US-led war on terror. Recently, the UK and Ireland 9/11 Truth movement have lobbied MPs to take a look at the compelling evidence that contradicts the official story. Judging from their responses, it appears most MPs deem themselves too busy to even consider the possibility that they have been duped for so long. Unfortunately, the majority dismiss rigorous scientific research and objective evidence as conspiracy theories. It is simply no longer plausible that the British government and its security services are unaware of the facts which indicate that 9/11 and other terrorist attacks were false flag operations. For a number of years, the evidence of MI5 and MI6 complicity in terrorist acts has been publicly available. Undercover intelligence agents who penetrated the IRA have risked their lives to expose the army and MI5's role in arms dealing, terrorist bombings, and the murder of civilians. I know from painful personal experience that MI6 in 1996 funded associates of Osama bin Laden in Libya to carry out an assassination on Colonel Gaddafi. That operation went wrong and killed innocent civilians. Publicly available records confirm that the intelligence services have in the past sheltered and protected terrorists. These include Osama bin Laden, Abu Qatada, and Haroun Aswad. In the 1990s, inquiries conducted by the Italian Parliament concluded that NATO and MI6 had supplied right-wing extremists with arms and explosives. Under the codename Operation Gladio, these were then used to assassinate public figures and cause terrorist atrocities, which were then blamed on left-wing groups. It is now clear that false flag operations are part of a strategy of tension designed to instill fear in the civilian population and create unprovoked hatred towards minority groups. On the 7th of July 2005, several explosions occurred on the public transport system in the City of London. The police initially reported that power surges had caused the blasts. Hours later, this scenario was discounted. In the 2 days that followed, different accounts emerged concerning the times that the bombs detonated. 2 days later, London Underground, the Metropolitan Police and the British Transport Police reported that 3 bombs exploded almost simultaneously on 3 separate tubes at around 0850. Almost an hour later, at approximately 0947, another bomb exploded on a bus in Tavistock Square. 52 passengers were killed.
The police and the government have admitted that their knowledge of what happened that morning remains incomplete. Reports released by the Home Office and the Intelligence and Security Committee in May 2006 are loaded with uncertainties and speculation. Yet the government continues to insist that a public inquiry is not necessary. They say that time and resources are not available to investigate Britain's worst ever terrorist attack.
Based on information provided by the police and the intelligence and security agencies, but largely not in the public domain, the Home Office's official chronology has only raised more questions than it answers.
If London could survive the Blitz, it can survive 4 miserable bombers like this. I'm not saying there are 4 bombers, 4 miserable events like this.
Little is